Good afternoon and welcome to the Outreach Technology for Houses of Worship webinar with JVC Kenwood. My name is James and I'll be your host for this afternoon. Today we'll be hearing from Greg Cameron, the VP of Media Services Division with JVC Kenwood. He will also show us some how JVC products can help enhance and expand your ministries. And also with us is Demir Klobukar, and he is the Regional Sales Manager for Ontario, and he will help with some questions later on. But before that, I want to fill you in on a few details. First, we'll be recording the webinar and posting it to our YouTube channel sometime by tomorrow. You can find our channel by searching Networks Audio Video in the YouTube search bar. Also, if you have any questions during the presentation, please enter them in the Q&A chat, and we'll do our best to answer them at the end of the presentation. So now, let's begin. We're going to start off with an overview of this, which is we'll be having an introduction of what outreach technology will be for houses of worship. We'll talk about what outreach technology is. That'll be followed by a presentation by JVC Kenwood discussing what available technologies there are, and then we'll be answering any questions that you have for us. So in this webinar, we'll be exploring technologies that bring impact and stimulate growth of outreach ministries. Our focus has been to help our customers with technology that makes our lives better, and we continue that focus today in the face of adversity. What can harm us can also strengthen us. Today, we're going to look at how we can make our lives better where we are, with the times as we see them progressing in the coming years. Today, we're going to explore outreach technology. Outreach is a vital part of any house of worship, as the Great Commission is to spread the word, whether this is achieved by discipling people and sending them out or by broadcasting our messages. There are technologies that can help you spread the word and stay connected to those within your circle. For a moment, imagine a world without the internet. Imagine a world without television or radio. Without technologies like radio, television, and the internet, outreach ministries would look much like they did before these technologies existed. Today, we benefit from these technologies in our daily lives and harness them to enhance our outreach ministries. Some examples of outreach technology throughout the past decades include audio recordings, video recordings, podcasts, and of course, radio and TV broadcasts. Today's outreach ministries incorporate social media and live streaming, video prayer meetings, online teaching, and online youth events. Every few years, your outreach ministry grows in ways that were unimaginable before. This is partially due to continuous advancements in electronics and what we like to call outreach technology. And now at this point, I'd like to stop sharing my screen and introduce to you Greg Cameron. Greg?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your patience and your attention of talking about, at a very high level today, about technology that is available to each and every one of you. It's not future technology. We're talking about technology that's available today. It's working today, and it's being utilized by multiple partners as we drive forward. JVC stands for the Japan Victor Company, and we've been around since 1927, manufacturing the very first television in Japan, and today is a division of the JVC Kenwood Corporation. Every product in this presentation has been tested, it works, and it's available for you today. We continue to offer an upgrade path with support and a commitment to the future of excellence. I'm the Vice President of the Media Services Division, and during these challenging times of COVID, that was the last picture of me in Hawaii in mid-February. So a lot of things have changed since that period. I have well over 45 years in imaging technology experience and the ability of talking both photo, video, and audio technology. And with our team here in Canada, we work very closely with James to help secure and distribute and support our products. Just to give you a quick summary, back in February of 2002, I had the pleasure of introducing a camera, which I have still one in existence, in which we launched the GYDV 300 camera. And for those who have been around for a while, it used a PCCIA Type 3 card in which there was a video connection to it. I believe the last one is still working at the University of Toronto to watch the student faculty or the student union room. So it's a testimony to what's going on. And some of the technology that was introduced back in 2002, it was declared that it created a new category of product, and sure enough, it has.
Greg, your presentation is not in presentation mode. We see the holes.
It's not. Are you seeing both slides now?
Yes.
All right.
Because your notes may show up, Greg.
That's fine. So as we look at our product line, we take a look at our KYPZ 100. The PTZ camera has a 1/2-inch CMOS sensor with a 30x optical zoom. This is a mechanical camera. It's not using a belt drive. It's using direct gear. So you're going to run into a very silent movement. So if you have the camera near the lectern or over by the altar, you will not hear that camera change positions. It has the ability of sending a 3G SDI or an HDMI output signal. It also records to a micro SDXC card and has the ability of having live streaming. And the live stream to Facebook is that it supports the codec of the RTMPS, which is the secure side for going into one of the requirements for into Facebook, and also has error correction with some of the components. Here's the back of the camera. As you see, the camera comes in both black and white. The micro SD card is sitting at the back, and then we have the ability of being able to make some very quick network resets. You see that there's a LAN PoE for power over Ethernet, HDMI, and multiple ways of setting it up. So here's a standard configuration in which the camera goes out SDI or HDMI, and then LAN over to a gigabit transfer switch, and then it can be sent out to a web browser for control. And the RMLP 100 that you see in the center, this remote control can control up to 99 different cameras. So you can address and preset the cameras for different positions. So if you had a baptism over by the font, you could have that as a preset, over by the lectern, over by the altar, over by the choir, and the ability of being able to preset those as stops. Then we have the web API control, where you have a PoE or power over Ethernet switch, in which now you're seeing that there's only 2 cables going to those cameras and then back out to a web browser for control. And those are the PoE switches. And then we move from here, and as I said, you have Ethernet and SDI or HDMI cables. And then now you can go out to a switcher. This is the JVC KMIP 6000, also the 4000 box that allows you to have it into a control room and have it controlled by the studio. And then you also have Wi-Fi connection. So there's really not too many places that we can't put a camera. If we want to control it with PoE, there's a 1.5 to 2 second latency, so a slight delay. But if this is going out to the web, there would be no seeming difference. Single cable, as you see, and a very clean and easy setup operation. And then we have multiple ways of being able to stream through to the internet, multiple cameras. It could go to YouTube or Facebook, over to a decoder, and then being controlled with a streaming, and then over back into an IP box for to switch it around. We worked very closely with Bell, in which we have USB sticks that are designed to increase your upload rather than download, which most authorized sticks are designed with. 5G compliant, and we even have the opportunity of bonding, so you can take an LTE. One could be a Rogers LTE, the other one could be a Bell LTE, and then we can stream them together so that you have consistent and constant video in case one of the lines either interrupts or goes down. And then in our new 2.0 software, we have the ability, as I said earlier, about the RTMPS, which the S stands for secure. That allows it to go to Facebook. And then within the camera, we have the ability of doing auto start streaming. And then we can have 5 different presets per camera and be able to set up and have it auto restart. So great for at the beginning of the service, being able to be confirmed that everything is working and is loading properly. A very simple, easy joystick controller allows you to switch the different cameras, the different areas, and have your presets. That allows us also to be able to control tally in and out. Tally, for those who don't know, is a little red light that comes on the camera that is actually doing the recording. And then we have the ability of connect it to a LAN, and then the ability also to go out to a switcher and have it controlled by a remote control. From the PTZs, we step over into the handheld cameras that come in several different flavors. The GY-HM180, HM250, the HM250, which we built for the House of Worship, and the HM250, which we have built for sports. So this is a camera where we're using the JVC elements. It's going through a JVC sensor and into a DSP and encoder, and then out to media. And then and we can record 2 different codecs to 2 different media piece. Or what you can do is A plus B. So when your A card gets filled up, it will automatically switch over and record onto the B card. That allows you to do very long recordings without having to step up and replace the cards. But they are also hot swappable. So if you wanted to be able to switch A after it starts to record into B, then it would go from B back to A, and you can have continuous recordings. As I said, these are just over 1/2-inch CMOS sensors. with 12x optical and 24x digital zooms, and each have an area that they're designed to work on. Nice part about this is the CMOS sensor is another JVC technology. We acquired a CMOS sensor factory and a company called Ultrasense, and that's allowed us to design sensors for exactly what we want it to do. It has the ability of increasing its quality input and how we manufacture it. We have the ability of being able to take some of our cameras and turn them into mini studio cameras by adding on the features of direct connect, have it go out HDMI. The monitor could be also managed by HDMI or SDI, have the ability to go out to a laptop and then be able to switch. One of the strongest benefits of the JVC technology is audio. We're using XLR balanced audio. It's professional audio, so you have the ability of not having to deal with something that's not going to pick up the full quality audio. With channel 1 and channel 2 controls, you have the ability of going to auto or manual controls for audio on each one of those channels. And as you can see, it's very straightforward, and there's a cover that comes down and protects it so you don't knock it partway through your production. You can see where there's that little lever that allows you to lift up and to be able to access. So as I said, we're talking about the different resolutions, the different images. We have 4K, HD, SD, a web proxy, and then a high speed. We are also one of the only companies that supports native QuickTime. That allows you to, if you are editing with an Apple QuickTime, you can actually ingest the video in under 5 seconds and make editing changes. So we have the ability of recording in multiple codecs, multiple resolution, multiple frame rates, bit rates, audio, and then have recording times, as you can see on a 64 gigabit SD card. So today we're focused on the GYHM 250HW. All of the 250 cameras have a USB host for Wi-Fi and LAN adapters that allows the cameras to be able to stream video directly out onto Facebook or through a decoder and then out to a switcher. We also have the ability of being able to do graphic overlays. Here's an example of a Wi-Fi stick that can plug in, and then that allows you to stream directly from the camera to your web address and allow you to take your video and transmit it right over the web. The protocols that we support, as you can see there, UDP, RTP, RTSP. Where I see the real big one is RTMPS. And then we're also using RTP plus the SMPTE FEC, which Zixi is a partner of ours. And this is a quality of service, probably one of the best in this class and category. And then the ability, because the camera has a built-in encoder, all you need is a decoder at the other end then to be able to mix your video. So you're saving, spending money on, if you're going directly to a switcher, you have a very simple and easy process of being able to go. The graphic overlay allows you to have recorded video, HDMI output, SDI output, and live streaming. And then you can set your specifications. You can turn on a watermark And on the bottom frames there, you can see where live would come up on the screen. That would not be part of your video. And then you can drop in text, you can drop in other information. So here we have an example of overlays that will walk through. You can pop up information. You can remotely control your overlays from an iPad or an OS phone or a standard phone. The ability of being able to connect because the camera has an IP address, and then the ability of being able to make those changes. So some of the areas that would be great for developing is here you have weddings, youth groups, funerals. A lot of us overlook that we have family all over the world. And with the internet, you have the ability to stream a funeral, dropping in the name of the individual, service information, and people who can't make it over for multiple of reasons, especially right now with COVID, would be able to be part of that funeral, be part of that wedding, that baptism, and then of course, outreach, and then the ability of being able to really take the information and take it a step further. Here we have what's involved with the logging on. Everything is through a very friendly menu built into the camera. You will input your code, and then what will come up is information of success that I'm now connected. It will tell me exactly what I'm doing, and I'll see that I'm live and streaming. So there's some of the beautiful features of the GYHM250HW, Facebook login, live events, and streaming live. And from an internet connection, there's multiple ways of connecting. Wi-Fi hotspots. We have a bonded LTE access point. So this basically is a supercharged machine with dual LTE, high gain antennas, and allows you to be able to transmit virtually anywhere. So just to summarize, why is the 250 a good camcorder over smartphones to stream to Facebook? Well, we're dealing with professional quality video and sound. We have a beautiful zoom in HD mode. We're using XLR audio and audio mixing. You can drop on optional shotgun and stereo microphones. So if somebody was interviewing or you had a microphone elsewhere, you have the ability of dropping that in. You have wired remote, smooth zoom operation, and then the graphic input and overlays. And that would be the first part of our presentation. And now we're going to move to some of the latest information. And this is our connected cam, which really is the beginning of probably the most reliable video transport over the internet. Everything is built into this camera. There's no tethered, no outboard devices. It's weather resistant, so it can be taken out outside. You have wide LAN, MIMO antennas, that's multi-in, multi-out, and LAN connectivity, bonded LTE, so that you can run two different protocols at the same time and have it covered. We've been partnered with a company called Zixi for a number of years. Zixi is an Israeli-based company that specializes in error correction and error detection. So with audio, if you have a dropout, you may or may not see or hear that dropout. But with video, when something stops, you see it right away. Your image is blocked up, or it's just broken up completely. So we've partnered with JVC for a quality of sound protocol, or sorry, a quality of service protocol. We have the ability of doing cloud-based IP video and an IP-based decoder and encoder, offering you a great level of selection depending on your needs, and you can still grow in to this marketplace. For some of the larger organizations where they're setting up their studios, they're doing multiple transport of their videos, some of it going to web pages, some of it to Facebook, some of it being into remote rooms where there's other screens for overflow parishioners, and then the ability of being able to have people who are not in the great places. Some areas of church may have areas blocked, and you can drop up a large screen and be able to have it that everybody can see what's going on. The four cameras that we've just introduced are 3 of them in the 500 series and 1 in the 900 series, which is a professional grade studio-based camera. Now, this is all going to be based on what are you doing? What is your expectation? What do you want to achieve? Are you looking to capture and stream? Are you looking at putting on full production? Are you looking at creating a full video service that can be then sliced, edited, and then placed on the web later for as part of the outreach program, or for recording it to DVD or another source so that they can be sold as a collection of Christmas or Easter services. So understanding, what do you want to do? Do you want to get the live production? Do you want to get a cinema look? Those are going to be some of your decisions where you will deal with James, and we will work together to help you identify your needs and identify what product and what solution is really the best. And as James said earlier today, this is really changing to be a different marketplace. Springs Church in Winnipeg now has a drive-in church. How you're creating live output, or is it created in post? And then we have the ability of being able to take and redefine how we want to record the service, and then edit, and then allow it for people in the future to be able to, say later on Sunday afternoon, to be able to see the service in a very different mode. You want to transmit by satellite, microwave, dedicated fiber, depending on your setup, and then the ability of launching and streaming over the internet, and then the ability of having the end users and the customers being able to be fulfilled with the services that they desire. So in our cameras, we break it down so that the video group at the church can really work together, so that different camera operators can talk to each other. The main director can talk to the camera operator. They may want a tighter focus shot on the altar or during communion. We have the ability of being able to transport the cameras, have encoders, and they're able to stream right from the camera. So they both come with little different specifications depending on your needs. What do you want to do? Where do you want to end up? And the ability of being able to identify those components that is needed by the church, right down to time code in and out 4-channel audio, the ability of pool feed. So at the cathedral, you have the ability of taking advantage of pool feed, where you'll have one master camera that is slated by the parish as the church that will have the information going out. And pool feed is where a whole host of other parishes can leak in and capture that image and that feed right out to them. Then we have the ability of being able to take into account, so if it's a very long service, could be synod, it could be funerals or large groups where you have a massive amount of information and recording. We can record to different devices in different resolutions and have that built directly into the camera and at different resolutions depending on how and what has been decided. And then of course, being able to have a camera studio config where maybe you have the pastors giving fundraising or informational feedback and information where they want to get it out. This could be a senior pastor leader talking to the youth group, and the youth group can be anywhere online and then be able to communicate and reach out going that route. Our new cameras have a 1-inch CMOS sensors, so it's highly sensitive, wide dynamic range, and up to 120p for video recording. The lenses are new 20x all glass lenses that have been set up in traditional setup. So you've got your focus, your zoom, and your iris. And that's equal to about a 600 millimeter, 35 millimeter lens. And then we can get into color, the capability of expanding. We have the ability of looking at how do we get the live video production over IP and not be hooked on the standard internet where it's getting more and more crowded, particularly if there's a Christmas concert, children's Christmas concert, and everything works fine at testing time. And then the room is filled with aunts, uncles, parents, grandparents. Everybody's got their phones out. Everybody's recording. The ability of being able to set up a broadcast quality video that can be delivered right to Facebook or online without interruption or packet loss or jitter or buffering. Video over IP. We are part of a worldwide group that have created standards so that the cameras you're buying today have the advantage of being able to work tomorrow, and the protocols tomorrow and beyond. And we have cameras that are multiple years old, and as we come out with new features, you have the ability of downloading the apps or the firmware to change that camera and take advantage of the piece of new technology. Connecting with Amazon Web Services and several other SRT, talking about secure, reliable transport, and then the SRT Alliance. Again, you can see the heavyweight names that are committed to reliable transport under a very secure, so that you can be assured you've got some of the world's best companies involved, and that they are here to make sure that your product, your setup is secure for the future, and that if you'd like to change some of your conditions and your setups, you're not set to only one piece. You have the ability of changing your places, your modifications, and your setup, and then the ability of being able to add components depending on where do you want to go, what do you want to do, and how do we help you understand. You know, James has got a talented team and the ability of being able to work together to make sure that we understand where you want to go, what is it your long-range goal, and so that when you budget to purchase and to commit, that you know that we're there committed with you to be part of as a service partner and as a technology partner, and the ability of having professional products, delivering professional solutions. Just wanted to say thank you to James for setting this up. And on behalf of the JVC Kenwood Canada organization, we're delivering today's answers for tomorrow's opportunity. And please ask any questions. We're here to answer. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Greg. And I think that I'm going to start off with a question. And that is on the cameras, like as an example, the House of Worship one. That camera could be used, say, with Wi-Fi. And how easy is it for me to connect something like YouTube?
Very simple. The camera has an IP address, and then you can go in and search, find your IP address at YouTube, and then you have the ability to connect, and then you can just follow the menu, and then you can upload.
Yeah, and I've done that before. I use the YouTube Studio, and as I go in to create my live stream, then I'm able to get my stream key, and I enter that into the camera, and yeah, it allows me to do that stream. So yeah, and also.
But if you want, Facebook would be RMTP, and if you want Facebook, it's got to be RMTPS.
Yep. Because
the protocol in Facebook is that they require the secure connection to be able to connect.
And also, is there another camera that also has the ability to connect to YouTube?
Not directly the way that we are.
Sorry, I was referring to the House of Worship camera, and we know the 250 series and the other portable ones can connect to YouTube. What about another one, say like the pan tilt zoom? Can that one also connect to YouTube?
Yes.
And that one is, I guess, it's a similar way then, huh?
Yes, it's right in the menu. You have the ability of setting your codec, and then the PTZ is virtually a 250 camera with a change in the optic structure and a change in the housing.
And so instead of a 12x optical, it's a 30x optical, and it has the very silent mechanism for moving around, so you really don't hear it move, similar to somebody moving the other camera. Unless your tripod is squeaky, you wouldn't hear anything. So yeah.
Now that you said that, we have also the ability of connecting the PTZ and the 250 camera and control it through the controller.
And you can change on the 250, you can change the zoom. You can also change things like focus. And another thing about these cameras that I recall is that because of the professional settings, unlike you would have, say, in, let's say, like just versus your smartphone, you have things like white balance as well that you can work on. And so you can have a much more professional looking image. And the other thing too is that because you have the optical zoom, you don't have to be very close. You can be farther down. So you can be, midway down the church, even possibly at the back of the church, depending on how large your church is, and be able to still have that clear image. Like in some.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say in some cases where we've installed cameras with 30x zooms, optical zooms, and so there is no digital zooming, and you know, the church is more than 100 feet from where the camera is to the person speaking, and we can actually have an image, you know, the size that, you know, I am in right now. So we've done that.
Excellent.
So yes, Demir, have you noticed any questions coming in?
Not at this point. So if anybody does have any questions, feel free to just add it to the chat window. Otherwise, by all means, just email James or JVC directly, and we'll definitely try to assist you.
Yeah, so we'll wait another minute or so to see if anything comes up, and so we'll just be monitoring that. And so, besides the ability to live stream directly from the units, besides, you know, the ability to control them all through the controller, you can also control them through the web pages. And I know with the web pages, we've used that to recall presets, to of course set positions, to change some of the optics on it. We've also used that to change the live streaming settings, so that if you want to change from your YouTube to your Facebook or to whatever other thing you want to stream, if you're streaming locally into a computer, say with RTSP, you know, you can save those in different ones and then just recall the one that you want to use. So, so if at this point, I guess if there are no questions for us to field, yeah, I don't see any, then I think at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to close off the webinar. And so we want to say thank you very much for taking the time to come here and to be part of this and participate. And we hope this has been helpful to you. We'll be posting a recording of this in the YouTube channel for our Networks Audio Video. And again, thank you, Greg, thank you, Demir, and thank you all who were in attendance today.
Thank you.
Thank you, James. Thank you, everybody.